Who is God in your life? Is God a reality of fear, of distance, of judgment? Or is God, through Jesus, coming and saying, I love you, and I believe in you, and I will never let you go? Hi, my name is Father Mike Manning. I'm a Catholic priest. Thank you very much for being present with us. I think you are going to enjoy this program. I met the guest just a week ago, although I had read his book before, and I was pretty much overwhelmed with the story of his life and the challenge of what happened. And I said, I've got to get Bill to come on and be on the show so that you too can experience this man's life and the ups and the downs and the blessings that have happened. Bill, God bless you. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you for having me today.
And being on the program. Tell me a little bit about your relationship with the Lord.
Well, that's a interesting question.
Well, it's an important question.
Yeah.
I mean, because everybody has to say, well.
Well, I would say, I started off. I was an altar boy, right?
Okay.
I was brought up Irish Catholic, and my relationship early in my life with God was one patriarchal, and by that I mean, it was one to be feared. Very much, God is going to get you. He's all the things that you done did, and I wasn't.
I can relate to that.
I wasn't the best little boy in the world.
Yeah.
I'd done some things.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh man, gonna go to hell, or purgatory or something. I went through Catholic education all the way to through college, but I guess things changed for me. Along the path, I had the awakening, if you will, began to occur. I had an accident. I wrecked my yacht in Mexico, and it forced me physically to stop.
Tell me the circumstances of this.
Oh, I was northbound, offshore. It was, near midnight, 2007 or so, and I basically ran into a rock outcropping.
Wow.
South of Ensenada, and interestingly enough, I had dreamed it verbatim a year prior. When it occurred, I was like, "Oh my gosh, it's happening again! I'm dreaming,
Wow.
but I wasn't dreaming.
No.
It was real this time."
Wow.
So anyway,
Are you alone on the boat?
I was the only one who was awake. There was other people that were on board, but we put a Titanic type of gash in the side of the hull, and I did. And but it was interestingly enough, we limped into port, and so began the journey, which I had no intention on going down the road of an awakening, if you will. One of the things that came out of it was I had an on and off girlfriend that I had at the time, and me stopping in the port of San Diego and being forced to stop for 8 months kind of allowed us to get back together. And when we did, I really wanted to make it work because I really loved her, but I couldn't understand her. And what happened is she seemed awfully illogical to me, but she was a tremendous guesser, if you will. She knew things, things that there's no possible way of knowing. But some people call it intuition. And I thought that, well, it would be great if maybe that's the problem. That's why I can't get along with her, because she's so darn intuitive and she can't seem to turn it off. I'd think of a lemon, and I'd just get, and I'd say, okay, what am I thinking? And she'd be like, it's an orange. It'd say, no, it's a lemon.
She could tell
I don't
you.
even like lemons, and
she could tell that.
Oh my gosh, incredible.
Real intuition.
She could figure stuff out like that. And I was like, well, maybe if I just understood her better. So I started getting all kinds of books on intuition and, developing kind of the communication with the divine. And how do you do that? How do you get that communication? I have no idea. So
aside from having this Catholic education and all going to
Mass, I did.
Now there was an intimacy that you were looking for that was rather different.
Exactly, a different intimacy, like something that was very real, but I didn't have access to it.
Yes.
And so anyway, I read these books. I read probably 13 books on, communication with the divine and angelic realm and stuff. And I started to get some new understandings. All these books had some themes, and those themes kind of ran contrary to who I really was at the time. The first one is that everybody can access this connection, but the thing that keeps us from it is our resentments. And I was, just poster boy for resentments. I held resentments for my father and everybody else. I felt kind of like the buck stops here kind of guy.
You had some rough times with your dad.
Sure. Yes.
And so a lot of resentment. Okay.
A lot of resentments. I would call it, the classic Irish upbringing. For us, the ones that are, anyway, that I say it tongue in cheek but the common theme is that anger, resentments, not forgiving are very dense and low frequency, and the angelic realm, the divine, God, Jesus, all are based in unconditional love. And so that means that if you want access, it's kind of disparity, if you will. You need to forgive and let go of your resentments in order to be able to get better communication. So I was like, oh man, it's the last thing I'd say I forgive, but I really didn't.
Yeah, the memory is
it's like, I forgive you.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, finally, I guess I just put it on a teeter-totter. I was like, you know what? You're not going to get anything out of this. There's nobody is going to cut you a check for, $10,000 today because you got hurt. Nobody's going to do it, But on the other side, if I could forgive, maybe I could have this kind of contact that is truly evident. I'm seeing the evidence of it in my life over here with my now wife, but she was my girlfriend at the time. So I started to forgive. And as I forgave, that connection and that intuitive sense opened up. And I started to get all kinds of additional understandings.
Wow.
One of the primary ones was that related to God and Jesus, is that I always felt like God was going to get you. It was like, you're going to hell. Hell's there for a reason, and it's to punish you, and you're no good, and you've never been good, and that sort of thing. I started to get some new understandings, and then one of the new understandings that was very basic was that you're given free will. And that free will from God's perspective or the divine or Jesus is truly free. It is not given. For example, if I have a daughter, and if I tell her, hey, you know what? There's some cookies on the counter, and I tell you what, you got free will. Do what you like. Grab a cookie if you want, but I tell you what, if you do grab the cookie, I'm gonna chop your hand off. I have an axe right here, and your hand's going.
Yeah.
That is not free will.
No.
That is not also unconditional love, meaning unattached to an outcome. Love. And God or Jesus's unconditional love is truly unconditional, not attached to an outcome. That your free will is really free. And there are natural consequences of our actions, but we're always loved. We're always loved no matter what we did or gonna do, and that the events of our life are here to help us to learn.
Okay, we're gonna take a break. You spoke of forgiveness, and I want to see if you can help us to understand the forgiveness that you had for your father. That was a real monumental thing, and yet it was in many ways the pivotal kind of move to be able to move to this depth of relationship, of intimacy. Are you with me on that?
I'm with you.
Stay tuned. We're going to see if we can get some insights into how we can be really people of forgiveness. Stay tuned. I hope you're being blessed by this program. But in the midst of my desire to be able to share my love of Jesus and then tell you about what other people are doing, there are serious financial challenges for this ministry. I'm dependent on you to be able to help. Many people think, well, the Pope is sending Father Manning money, or the bishops are sending Father Manning money, and it's really not true. You are the one that is enabling this ministry to continue with your prayers, but also with your financial sacrifices. One of the ways that I'd invite you to join with us is a thing called the Mighty 800. We are looking for 800 people who would be willing to share each month $25 or more to allow this ministry to continue. Would you please think about joining this Mighty 800 and allowing the good news of Christ, as you've heard it so many times from here, to go even further into the lives of many people. Now, if you are willing to join this Mighty 800 and give that donation of $25 or more, I want to send you a gift. And the gift is a book that I've written. It's called 15 Faces of God. This is the insights into 15 of the wonderful stories, the parables that Jesus told in his passionate love for his Father. Think about this. Help this ministry to continue. Become a member of the Mighty 800. I know that you are going to be changed, not only by this book, but changed by the blessings of this ministry. Please, become a member of the Mighty 800. Bill, you've shared with us that once you have a relationship with Christ, you're able to let go of fear. You're able to have a relationship which is based on true freedom of conscience, freedom of doing what God has given me to do. One of the real problems of our life, though, is that oftentimes there are people who have hurt us very deeply, and letting go of that anger and trying to be able to forgive is very tough. Could you speak to us a little bit about what was the situation with your father, and how did you deal with letting go of that in order to reach this deeper relationship and intimacy with Christ?
So, that's an interesting question, because it was not until I saw the benefit to me. It was almost selfish, if you will. See, the irony is I was an altar boy, and I was, church every Sunday, for all my life. And it was always in church, it was always, you need to forgive because Jesus said to. You got to do it. And I was like, not going to do it. And it was when I saw the benefit to me. Right?
Sure.
But I didn't know there was a benefit. I thought holding my resentment was the best thing, right? I had no idea.
Well,
It's
you can touch it. You can hold on to it.
You can hold
it's
it.
there. And
Grab it. I'll change things.
Yes,
I'll hold on to this.
Yes.
So I didn't even know there was a benefit. It was that I didn't know the benefit I was getting into. The benefit, I thought, was a better, information and divine connection. But the real reason to do it is multifold. And one of the first things is that you feel better. Your life, all of a sudden, the synchronicities in life.
What does that mean? What does that mean?
Synchronicities, meaning the strange occurrences that kind of put you in the right place at the right time.
Okay.
They're just as much as wrong place, wrong time.
Yeah.
There's right place, right time.
Okay.
And in forgiving and letting go of those resentments, it sets up the possibility of being in the right place at the right time for many, many things.
Being open to it, being open to the possibility of incidental things happening being more significant.
There, yes. And it is, anyway, the another word for it is the miraculous. So you'd mentioned, my father, and yes, I grew up. My father was an alcoholic. He had a couple of different mental illnesses, and so there was the physical and emotional beatings, and those sorts of things. And me being who I am, I kind of took those to heart and wouldn't let them go. Yeah. And so when I did is when everything changed.
When you let go.
When I let go and forgave him, kind of when I did it just a little bit, I started to feel good, and then I was able to kind of go further. Go for more. The other thing that occurred to me, and one of the things that had helped me down the path of forgiveness, is that I started to understand things differently, and that is that put succinctly is you spot it, you got it. And that a lot of the things that I resented in others was the very things that I did. And those things would happen to me. So as far as I didn't like, people lying to me, right? And I would get irate if I caught them lying or to me. And then, but I would never look at me.
What about my lies?
My lies, my whatever I did.
Yes.
And then I started to realize that everyone is having a conversation about themselves. If you listen to people's complaints about another, they're constantly telling you, this is what I don't like about me.
Yes.
And that's awfully embarrassing.
Isn't that embarrassing? And when I was reading your book and you came across a sentence there, and you said that sentence, it really overwhelmed me because I know it's so true that when I am upset with another person, 9 times out of 10, you didn't say 9 times out of 10, I said 9 times out of 10. What it really is, it's a reflection of my own problem and my own concern. And if I can be wise enough to see in the irritations that I have from other people a reflection on myself, I have an open door to wisdom.
That is exactly it. And you nailed it. The wisdom in that is the ending of the cycle. How the cycle ends is I change my mind about that thing. Meaning, if I find I'm so mad at people who steal from me, then that really gets me. Well, stop stealing. Stop stealing time, stop stealing from your employer, stop stealing, whatever it might be. But the interesting thing here is as soon as I change my mind and I stop doing it, it stops happening to me.
Yeah, you're free.
The other thing is when I realize that I've done it, is somehow strangely that person, back to forgiveness, that person that I felt like I had to forgive, all of a sudden, I can see myself in them.
And they become, as it were, a treasure, a richness that was put into your life to allow you to be able to understand yourself in a way that you never did before. Are you with me on this?
Bingo. You got it.
I mean, they're walking around and you're irritated with this person. They always say the wrong thing, they do the wrong thing, whatnot, and this. But if you can really have the wisdom, you can say, oh my gosh, what they're doing is they're carrying the pearls and the gems to allow me to be who I can really understand who I am. And
that is perfect. And the funny thing is, and everybody out there's got, your associated circle that you're with. But if you notice, this is one of my favorite ones. You're in a circle and somebody's telling their story about their latest hurt and how they're, upset at this situation or something like that. If you notice, different people in the circle are upset with them, but about different aspects.
Yeah.
And those different aspects are the aspects that they have that they're upset about themselves. They're not upset about themselves, they just don't see it yet, that it's an aspect of them.
Yes. One of the powers in your book, The Only Lesson, this powerful book that I really enjoyed reading. You have a good way with words, and you also have some good insights into things. But you spoke of the pervasion of fear in our life, and how we need to make sure that we don't allow that to become the rudder, if you will, that allows us to move through the boats and maybe get beyond the rocks that you ran into when you were down towards Ensenada. If we can let go of fear, and when you said this in your book about fear, I kept thinking of the many times that Jesus said, don't be afraid, don't be afraid. It's the most frequent statement that Jesus makes in the Bible, repeating it, don't be afraid. To be able to fall into the arms of God and believe that God will never let us go, and that no matter what we've done in the past, it's not going to hold us back, and He's willing to forgive, and the blood that flowed from Him on the cross is the proof of that He's willing to forgive, and He's willing to be able to be blessed by what we do. Stay tuned, and we're going to be praying for you, and we're going to be asking you also to make sure that you're a part of this ministry, but please stay tuned. You are the one that is enabling this ministry to continue with your prayers, but also with your financial sacrifices. One of the ways that I'd invite you to join with us is a thing called the Mighty 800. We are looking for 800 people who would be willing to share each month $25 or more to allow this ministry to continue. Now, if you are willing to join this Mighty 800, I want to send you a gift. And the gift is a book that I've written. It's called 15 Faces of God. This is the insights into 15 of the wonderful stories, the parables that Jesus told in his passionate love for his Father. Think about this. Help this ministry to continue. Become a member of the Mighty 800. The ministry is an open door for people to pick up their telephone and to call us. And we're anxious that they do that. And they can also do this on the internet. We've got a web page, and they can even go in and they can even light a candle on our web page and let the candle can be a symbol of the prayer that's being burned there. But people have called in and they've asked for prayers. Let me give you some of these, and then let's pray over these people. Greg from North Carolina, depression. Jim from Illinois, his sister Barbara had a stroke, and she now and they found that she even has a hole in her heart. Cor from Tucson, Arizona, high blood pressure, kidney failure, and she also has diabetes. And here's I think this came from the internet. This is from New York, and it's Margaret. She wants freedom from anxiety, depression, and she's pretty much addicted to diet pills. How would you deal with this and the people at home?
So one of the interesting things that kind of came to me along the way is that we all innately have the same ability as Christ. And
he's empowered us.
So absent our ego, which is our ego is wanting or thwarted wanting, meaning I didn't get what I want, or it's indifferent. Those are the only modes of my ego, and is that what keeps me from it. What Jesus did was seeing the people as perfect.
Okay.
So all we do is if we see them as perfect, like Jesus did, without attachment to an outcome. We don't want anything. We're not afraid if it doesn't happen, but we see them all as perfect, blissful, joyful, happy, healthy.
Are you hearing this? This is what God wants for you right now. Join us, not just in this moment of quiet, praying for you and praying for all these people that have responded. Come into their lives, Lord, with that miraculous power of your love and your presence. Allow people to know that fullness and that perfection and that wholeness that only you can give. And may Jesus' love for you always make you smile.